It happened on a Tuesday in late January, the kind of day where the sky turns gray at lunch and never really brightens again. School let out early because of the ice on the roads, so I was walking home with my sister, Maya, bundled up and complaining about her boots. At 4:40 p.m., my phone vibrated in my coat pocket. The message was from my dad's contact, the same thread I always had with him. "I'm running late at work. Go home, grab something to eat, and bring it to me." My dad worked by the lake, in a little heated shelter the town used for maintenance and fishing permits. He called it the cabin, even though it was really a shack with a table, a kettle, and a propane heater where he drank coffee and ate whatever we brought him. He'd texted me like that before, so I didn't question it. I texted back, "Okay. Anything specific?" No response came, but Dad sometimes got busy out there, especially when the weather was bad. Maya was 9, and my mom was still at her shift at the pharmacy. I told Maya we were going to do Dad a favor, and her face lit up because it meant we'd be going somewhere. We got home at 4:55 p.m. I put my backpack down, kicked snow off my shoes, and went straight to the kitchen. I packed 2 ham sandwiches, a banana, and a thermos of sweet tea, the way Dad liked it when he was cold. Maya followed me around, dragging her blanket like a cape. "Do I have to go?" she asked. "I'm not leaving you here alone," I said, and I meant it in the most practical way. I grabbed my keys off the hook and made sure my phone was charged enough to use as a flashlight if we needed it. Our town was small enough that the lake only meant one place. It was a 10-minute drive, past the darkened baseball field, the empty diner, and the old hardware store with a plywood sign that said "We buy scrap." By 5:18 p.m., the sky was already turning the color of bruised snow. The lake road was plowed but narrow, with snowbanks pushed up like walls. The cabin was off a gravel pull-off, near the maintenance area where there were dumpsters and a locked gate for the town trucks. I parked where Dad always parked, under a dead streetlight that never worked. The cold hit like a slap when I opened the car door. Maya's breath came out in little white bursts, and she tucked her chin into her scarf. We walked along the packed snow path toward the cabin, my boots crunching loud in the quiet. The lake was to our left, a dark sheet with a thin crust of ice near the shore, and the reeds stuck up like black needles. I remember thinking how empty it looked, like the whole place had been shut off for winter. A few yards ahead, near one of the benches by the shoreline, I saw someone sitting. He was hunched forward, elbows on knees, wearing a reflective vest like the one my dad kept in the cabin. My first thought was that Dad had gotten tired and sat outside for a minute. "Dad?" I called, and my voice sounded too small out there. The person didn't move. Maya squeezed my hand. We kept walking, careful on the slick patches, and I raised my other hand in a little wave like he could see it. When we got close enough, I saw long hair spilling out from under a beanie. That didn't match my dad, who kept his hair cropped short because it annoyed him. The person turned his head slowly. It wasn't my dad. It was a man I'd never seen before, with a thin face and eyes that looked too bright in the dim light, like he was angry just to be awake. His mouth was set tight, and his cheeks were chapped raw from the cold. For half a second, he just stared at me. Then he stood up too fast, like he'd been waiting for the moment to spring. "Where is it?" he snapped, and his voice was hoarse. I didn't answer because my brain was still trying to catch up. He stepped in close and grabbed the front of my jacket with one hand, bunching the fabric near my collar. His fingers were strong and cold through the material. Maya made a small sound behind me, like a hiccup. I reacted the way I do when Maya reaches for something hot. I shoved him, hard, with both hands. He stumbled backward on the packed snow, his boots slipping, and he went down on one knee. He hit the ground with a thud and swore, loud and sharp. I didn't wait to see what he'd do next. I grabbed Maya under her arm and pulled her around, turning us back the way we came. "Run," I said, and it came out flat, like I was giving a normal instruction. We ran toward the car without looking back. Behind us, I heard the snow crunching, faster than our footsteps, coming in hard bursts. Maya was crying, trying to keep up, and I kept tugging her forward, half dragging her. I could hear my own breathing loud in my ears. The car was a dark shape under the dead streetlight, and I fumbled the keys so badly I dropped them once in the snow. My hands were shaking too much to feel the buttons. I snatched the keys up, got the door open, shoved Maya into the passenger seat, and slammed the door. I threw myself into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and started the engine. The headlights cut across the snowbank and flashed over the path we'd just run from. For a split second, I saw him charging toward us, his hair flying out from his hat, his mouth open like he was yelling something I couldn't hear through the glass. I slammed the car into reverse, tires spinning, and backed out so fast the rear end fishtailed. Then I put it in drive and went. I didn't stop until we were back on our street, and even then I didn't feel safe until I was in our driveway with the garage door closed behind us. It was 5:50 p.m. when we burst into the house. My mom was in the kitchen, still wearing her work jacket, and my dad was at the table with his hands wrapped around a mug. Both of them looked up at once, confused by the way we came in. Maya ran straight to my mom and clung to her like she was drowning. My dad stood up. "What's wrong? Why are you both?" I held my phone up, screen shaking, and said, "You texted me. You told me to bring food." My dad's eyebrows pulled together. "I didn't text you." "Yes, you did," I said, and I showed him the message. He stared at it, then patted his pockets like the answer might be there. His face changed, like something dropped through his stomach. "I lost my phone," he said slowly. "At the cabin. I realized around 4 and came home to look for my old one." He looked at my mom. "I left early. I didn't think." My mom's voice went tight. "You lost it where?" "At the shelter," Dad said. "I came back for it and it was gone." He took the phone from my hand, scrolled, then handed it back like it burned. "Call the police," he said. He did it himself at 6:10 p.m., pacing the living room while the dispatcher asked questions. I sat on the couch with Maya pressed against my side, my arm around her shoulders so hard my fingers ached. We told them everything in the exact order it happened. The officer who arrived first wrote notes on a pad and asked me to describe the man's hair, his vest, his boots. Another unit went out to the lake with my dad to search around the cabin area. They came back just after 7:20 p.m. with red noses and that tired look adults get when they've already decided there's no solution. "We didn't locate anyone," one officer said, polite but dismissive. "No signs of forced entry to the cabin. No one in the area now." My dad asked about the phone. They told him to contact his carrier, report it stolen, and change his passwords. When my mom asked what we were supposed to do if the man came back, the officer shrugged like he hated the question. "Keep your doors locked," he said. "If you see him again, call us." After they left, my dad checked every lock twice. He pulled the curtains closed so tight the fabric strained. I stayed in Maya's room until she fell asleep, then went to my own room with my phone on the pillow beside me, volume all the way up. At 2:07 a.m., a sharp crack hit my window. It wasn't a creak or a branch. It was the clean, unmistakable sound of something hard striking glass. Maya cried out from her room, a scared, sleepy sound, and my mom's footsteps hit the hallway. I jumped up and yanked my curtain back. In the yellow glow of the streetlight, I saw him standing near our front yard fence. Same long hair. Same reflective vest catching the light in dull strips. He was looking up at my window like he knew exactly where I slept. My heart dropped into my stomach. I heard my dad behind me, whispering, "What the hell?" The man lifted one hand slowly, not waving. Just holding something up, as if he wanted me to see it. Even from the second floor, I recognized the shape. A phone. My dad's phone. My dad called the police again, voice shaking with anger this time, and by the time the dispatcher finished taking our address, the man was already moving. He walked, not ran, toward the side of the house where the yard got darker. By the time the patrol car rolled up 5 minutes later, lights flashing blue over the snow, he was gone. When morning came, the proof was there in a way that made my skin go cold all over again. Muddy boot prints crossed our snow-covered lawn in a straight line from the street to beneath my window. A small rock sat in the snow near the siding, wet and dark. And right beside it, caught on a bush branch, was a torn strip of my jacket fabric, ripped from where he'd grabbed me. My dad took pictures of everything with my mom's phone, close-ups with the timestamps showing 8:12 a.m. He showed the officers when they returned, and they nodded, serious for the first time. Still, the end result sounded the same. No cameras in the area. No clear suspect. They couldn't do much unless he broke in or we could identify him. That night, my dad didn't go back to the lake. He set up the old motion camera he used for hunting, aimed at the driveway and the front walkway. He put fresh batteries in it like that alone could keep us safe. We all slept in the living room, lights off, TV on low with the volume turned down to almost nothing. At 1:48 a.m., the camera made a soft click as it recorded. I didn't hear it at the time. I only found out because my dad checked it at sunrise, sitting at the kitchen table with his jaw clenched. He called me over and played the footage on the tiny screen. A figure stepped into the edge of the porch light's glow. Long hair. Reflective vest. He walked right up to our mailbox, looked straight toward the house, and held my dad's phone up to the camera like he knew exactly where it was pointed. Then he opened the mailbox, slipped the phone inside, and closed it. That was the moment that felt like a trap snapping shut. It wasn't a story anymore. It was a recording, a frame you could pause on, proof that he'd been right there. My dad took the phone out of the mailbox with gloves on. It was cold enough that the screen lagged when he tapped it. On it, in the same message thread, there was a new outgoing SMS sent at 1:49 a.m. It was to my number. It said, "Good job." The police took the phone as evidence, along with the motion camera's SD card. They told us again, in nicer words, that there wasn't much they could do unless he escalated. So we escalated first. My dad called in favors and had a friend install proper motion lights that afternoon. We stayed with my aunt for a week, then my parents made a decision that hurt my dad's pride more than anything. He quit the lake job. He didn't go back to that cabin, not even to collect his thermos. We moved out of town in March, to an apartment above a bakery in a place with more people and more streetlights. I didn't tell anyone at my new school why I flinched whenever a phone vibrated. Maya stopped asking to go anywhere after dark. For a while, it felt like we'd outpaced him. Then, on a rainy Thursday in April, at 4:40 p.m., my phone buzzed in my pocket while I was walking Maya home from her new school. A number I didn't recognize popped up. One line of text. "I'm running late at work. Go home, grab something to eat, and bring it to me."